Welcome to a deck take about Flash, Rector, casting Flash, putting Academy Rector in play and getting Omniscience out. I've been playing this deck for a long time and been thinking about doing a deck take video about it. Originally, I did play it with Trasious and Tymna, but in the end I'm glad I didn't do the deck take because this build has actually got an upgrade. I'm going to switch out the commanders for Jodah, granting me the color identity of red. He's actually not the upgrade. The true upgrade is Spell Seeker. And one more thing, Arena Rector. And in the beginning I actually thought that Arena Rector was just a casual card, really strong in Legacy and Vintage, however not good enough in EDH. But I actually found out a way to utilize this into a combo piece. But we're going to be talking about that later. Let's begin with showing you how the Seasons Pass Omniscience win con actually functions. And you're going to see why Spellseeker is an upgrade for this build. And also why Jodah is a good idea to be the choice of commander this deck. The start setup is casting Flash, revealing at Academy Rector, sacrificing it, sending it to the bin, and then getting Omniscience in play. We can do the same thing with casting Flash, revealing Protein Hulk, finding Carrion Feeder together with Academy Rector and scoring the same thing, making Academy Rector die and granting us Omniscience. After we have Omniscience in play, we can cast spells from our hand without paying the mana cost. That means that the first thing we're going to do is cast a tutor. And with Demonic Tutor or whatever tutor we cast, we're gonna find another tutor. But this time we are gonna find Seasons Past. And then let's cast Seasons Past to return these two cards from our graveyard to our hand, and Seasons Past will go to the bottom of the deck. After that we cast Demonic Tutor, find Seasons Past. Then we cast our secondary tutor and find whatever card we want, and from here you can basically get your entire deck into your hand and produce a win con of whatever you want. What I'm actually going to do is this. I will find Tidesprout Tyrant. And after that I am basically going to repetitively cast spells for the rest of the game, returning every single permanent to my opponent's hand, make sure I have, let's say about 7 counter spells in hand, and just pass turn and ask everyone to concede, because that will be enough. I don't have a win con that is going to score a straight up win, but I'm going to make sure that it's impossible for my opponents to play the game, and I will just repetitively, slowly and killing each opponent by attacking with a 5/5 creature card. Previously, before there was a Spellseeker, before there was a Jodah, and before there was an Arena Rector, I usually won my games with Praetor's Grasp. What I did was repetitively cast Praetor's Grasp against each opponent, moving each card inside their entire library in a face down exile. After that I simply just passed turn. That really did the job. But we are going to come back to why we are going for this Tidesprout Tyrant build instead. And it's going to be explaining that. But first we are going to be looking at how we're going to exploit Arena Rector. So if you cast Flash, reveal Arena Rector, send it to exile, you can bring whatever Planeswalker card you wish from your deck into play. And the scariest one in the entire game is currently a 7 mana Nicobolas. There are bigger Planeswalker cards than this, but I think this is the best option we have. His +1 ability forces each opponent to exile 2 cards from their hand. And that ability is cute, it's functional, it's definitely a control ability. However, a Nicobolas Planeswalker is not going to score you a secure win. It is so easy to simply cast Chain of Vapor, Beast Within or something that will destroy it. So in the end I don't think that Arena Rector and Flash together is a thing. However, it's not bad and it's not terrible, but it's not great. It's something, but what I am going to show you now is great. Here I have Eldritch Evolution and Birthing Pod. So let's put Arena Rector into play. After that we cast Eldritch Evolution or Birthing Pod, sacrificing this thing, removing it from the game and finding whatever Planeswalker we want. And we are not going to find Nicobolas Planeswalker, we are going to find Tamil Field Researcher. She comes into play with 4 loyalty counters. At -7, she will draw you 3 cards and give you an emblem that say you may cast cards from your hand without paying the mana cost, which is pretty much the same as on Omniscience. However, this is an emblem and not an enchantment. Your opponents can't cast a 1 mana cost Chain of Vapor or a 1 mana cost Nature's Claim to remove this. It's going to stick on the board state. After Tamiyo's field research has resolved and been put into play, we are going to resolve either Birthing Pod or the Eldritch Evolution to find a 5 mana cost creature card, Deep Blue Skate. And you get it! Now we are going to double the counters on Tamiyo, bringing her up to 8, and using her ultimate ability to draw the free cards and get the Omniscience effect. Great! I would also like to say that Eldritch Evolution and Birthing Pod are great together with Academy Rector. They're also going to score the same thing, because you're going to get Omniscience in play, and then you're going to get a 5 mana cost creature card in play, and that can be cEDH Undead Vizier, and that is going to be a tutor, because you're going to exploit cEDH to yourself and draw whatever tutor card from your deck, and then you're going to get your Seasons Past and get yourself going. But I think it's time to reveal why Spellseeker is such a great card inside this deck. So this is a tutor that can search for an instant or sorcery that costs 2 or less. So you can basically find Flash with this creature card, but you can also find Daemonic Tutor with this creature card. And because there is a creature card with power 2 or less and toughness 2 or less that can find the win con of Demonic Tutor, then suddenly we can play Imperial Recruiter and Recruiter of the Guard, because they will be able to find Spellseeker. But that also means that Eldritch Evolution becomes a tutor effect for this deck, because we can sacrifice a mana dog like Land or Elf to find a creature card that costs 3 or less and put it into play. So we can use Eldritch Evolution as a tutor effect once we have Omniscience or the emblem in play. You see how beautiful all the cards in this deck is just overlapping each other? This is also why I did want to swap out Trasious and Tymna, because I wanted to get the color identity of red so I could be playing Imperial Recruiter. So inside this deck, our win con is a 10 mana cost enchantment. We're never gonna be able to pay for that thing. And before Jodah, I usually played Show and Tell. That would be a 3 mana cost Omniscience. However, with Jodah, we can cast Omniscience for 5 mana, and I think that's okay. So Jodah can basically give us the color identity of red and also put Omniscience in play a little bit easier. But I did mention that we were playing Tidesprout Tyrant, and Jodah can actually help us get Tidesprout Tyrant into play for 5 mana instead of 8 mana. So Tidesprout Tyrant is the final win con, the way we are going to end the game. But this enormous genie can also be a combo piece. So let's say that we have a Soul Ring in play. We tap that one for mana. Then we cast Mox Amber. And let's say that we have Jodah in play, so this thing taps for mana. Tidesprout Tyrant triggers and returns Soul Ring to our hand. Then we tap this thing for mana, and we use one of the colorless mana to cast Soul Ring, once more returning this thing in. Loop is achieved infinite mana, and infinite mana is exact same thing as having an Omniscience in play. If you have infinite mana, Trasious the Triton hero is also a win con from that. However, with Jodah, we are only casting expensive cards through a lot less mana. He don't give you an instantly win once you have infinite mana. So we need more tutors. We need a tutor effect to be able to win. And once we have Omniscience in play, Razaket is free to cast, and he is a tutor. You can sacrifice a creature to search a library for a card. But with infinite mana from Tidesprout Tyrant, you can also cast this expensive demon. But also, Jodah can help you cast Razaket for 5 mana and actually make use of him as drawing a lot of combo pieces by sacrificing mana dogs. Because infinite mana is a sure win with this deck with enough tutors, I'm also adding in Isochron Scepter and Dramatic Reversal. We are playing a lot of artifact in this deck and a lot of mana dogs. So it's going to be easy to have 3 mana to make this combo giving you infinite mana. Quite easy and fast. And then you just need that one tutor from your hand to win the game. Now I did talk a lot about that Arena Rector and Flash together, putting a big Nicobola's God Fairy in play at turn 2 or turn 1 if you have a Lotus Petal isn't really good enough. it's not going to score you a win. However, with Jodah, we could actually play this big Planeswalker card because we can cast it for 5 mana. And smashing out Nicobolas the Planeswalker at turn 2, turn 1 isn't terrible either. It's not great, but if you accidentally draw Arena Rector and Flash together, you could go for it. Because we're already playing Arena Rector and Flash inside the deck, so why not add in Nicobolas Planeswalker just for a big control powerful card? Also, if you actually wish to kill your opponents and you don't want to pass turn with having Tidesprout Tyrant, 7 counter spells in hand and removing every permanent they have in play to their hand, you could actually win the game with this. If you have infinite mana and you can cast unlimited amount of spells, you can return Nicobolas Planeswalker to your hand with Tidesprout Tyrant, and you can use its -4 ability to deal 7 damage to an opponent. And that will be infinite damage. So let's talk about the tutor package this deck is playing. So I have been mentioning that you don't win the game instantly once you have infinite mana or omniscience. You need a way to get your engine going with Seasons Past, and you basically need any one of the tutors that I'm going to show you. So we have Demonic Tutor, we've talked about that one. We have cEDH Undead Vizier. Then we have Spellseeker that finds Demonic Tutor. You have Imperial Guard that finds Spellseeker that will find. So you're basically seeing this. We're tutoring for tutors. We have another tutor that tutors for a tutor. We have Rasaket. He can be cast and sacrificed mana dogs, but you can also cast him and then find your entire combo. We did mention Eldritch Evolution that will sacrifice a mana dog to find Spellseeker. We do play Daimonic in 10. I'm also playing Beshidi Queen because this is a multicolor deck and I have built my mana base quite focused on a lot of mana fixing, so I might be able to cast this thing for only 3 black mana. However, I have 3 more tutors that I would like to show you. These ones. And Jodah basically gave us Burning Witch, the color identity of red. So we need to talk a little bit about these tutors because they are actually demanding a wish board. And depending on your play group, you might not be allowed to play these cards. I'm actually allowed to play them. I have a 10 card wish board that is following with this deck. So this is a tutor that can go into your deck, but you can also go to your wish board with it. And the card that I'm going to fetch with Burning Wish is Conflux. You could play Conflux inside your deck because Jodah makes it being cast for only 5 mana. Still, I don't really like having too many cards that can only be cast once we have Jodah in play, so I'm gonna have Conflux sitting around in my sideboard. My Living Wish, on the other hand, will be able to grant me Fierce Empath. Fierce Empath have 3 big targets, you've seen them all. Rasaket, the big tutor, Protean Hulk, also a big tutor, and the Tidesprout Tyrant Genie. So we can use Living Wish finding Fierce Empath with 3 scenarios. Either we have Jodah in play and the mana rocks to gain us infinite mana with this thing, but then we can use this to find this guy. If we have Flash in our hand, we can use Fierce Empath to get Protean Hulk. If we have infinite mana or Omniscience in play, we can use Fierce Empath to get Rasaket in play. So a grand total of a 12 card tutor package. Whenever we have Omniscience in play or infinite mana and any one of these cards inside our hand, we're going to win the game. The rest of the deck should basically be a huge control deck, a lot of control cards. You can utilize Isochron Scepter by imprinting a counter spell or a mana drain. Mana drain is great inside this deck because that will help out casting Omniscience for the 10 mana. If you counterspell something that costs maybe 5 and you have 5 mana, you will get Omniscience in play. So a lot of control cards, depending on your playgroup and the metagame you're going up against. In any case, this is the end of this deck take with Jodah and Omniscience Academy Rector Flash. I hope you liked it. I really like this build. I think it's a fun build. I think it's a good build too. A huge powerful control build. Now thank you so much for watching and get out there and stomp people with Jodah.